Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Next, I will proceed with the production of secondary metabolite. I will start with plant secondary metabolite. So it can be produced with three ways, which are conventional, immobilization, and in vitro tissue, organ, and cell culture. So for conventional, two methods can be performed, which are solvent extraction and supercritical fluid extraction, SFE. And then for solvent extraction, various solvent can be used, such as water, alcohol, acetone, chloroform, and ether. And then the selection of solvent for this extraction would determine biologically active cytochemical from plants. So for instance, if we use ethanol, then we use the ethanol is to extract intracellular ingredient from plant material. So methods for solvent extraction are maceration, decoction, percolation, soxhlet extraction. So here are the diagram for the conventional extraction method, which are solvent extraction. So for example, maceration is when we use powdered crude mixed with solvent, and then we will let it for 2 to 3 days, and then the compound will be formed. So here you can go through for the difference between all the methods. And then next is the supercritical fluid extraction, SFE. So in here, it involves uses of gases and compressing into dense liquid. And then from there, extract-laden liquid is pumped in through a separation chamber where the extract is separated from gas and the gas is recovered for reuse. An example of gases that can be used are carbon dioxide, nitrogen, and methane. The advantages of using this method is that we can obtain desired extract from a given method and no solvent residue left in end process. But the disadvantages of using this method is quite expensive. So here is the diagram that I explain the cycle. So next is the immobilization method. So immobilization is in which cell or biocatalysts are confined within a matrix by technique of entrapment, adsorption, covalent linkage, and covalent bonding. And then the desired metabolite are synthesized by addition of suitable substrate and provision on optimum cytochemical parameter. And then the advantages are plant cell growth and production phases can be decoupled and controlled. And then it allows separation of cell that make easy exchange of medium for metabolic control and nutrient replenishment. And then the end products can be easily collected continuously. And then lastly is the in vitro tissue, organ, and cell culture. So, it can be done through shoot culture, root culture, calyx culture, cell suspension, and hairy root culture. So basically for this method, it involves we can use this series of steps. First, we select plant of interest, and then second, is the initiation of in vitro culture. So in here, it means that we will require small pieces of plant, or we can call it as explant. And then we incubate the explant with culture media for a period of time. And then lastly, we will transfer to the reactor. So example that I can give here is first, I will give example for hairy root system. So our plant of interest is the root. tips, and then we will infect it with agrobacterium retogens, and then we grow it on tissue culture media. Later, we will transfer it to the bioreactor to produce secondary metabolite. Here are the diagram. And then next is the production of microbial secondary metabolite, which can be carried out through liquid fermentation and solid fermentation. So for liquid fermentation, for solid fermentation, it is through batch or fed batch culture in submerged fermentation. So the steps are: first, we develop inoculum by shaking flask culture. The next, we transfer culture to small fermenter, then larger fermenter with production medium, and then we add inducer to the fermenter. And then for solid state fermentation, it is a microbial culture that develops on the surface and at the interior of a solid matrix and in the absence of free water. There are two types, which are solid culture of one support substrate, solid phase, and the second one is the solid culture of two substrate, support solid phase. The advantages are low energy requirement, high yield of secondary metabolite, shorter time, and non-required sterile condition. And then for the application, I will start with the plant. So secondary metabolite can be used for various purposes such as medicinal, agricultural, fragrance, and food. For the medicinal purpose, example of secondary metabolite are alkaloid, phenolic, and terpenoid. So example of alkaloid here, vinblastine, quinine, risperidone. So vinblastine, for example, it has anti-cancer agent. And then for the agricultural purpose, alkaloid can be used as animal or insect repellent and plant regulator. And then next, for fragrance purpose, example of metabolite are terpenoid, which are phenol and alpha bisobolol, which have fruity odor and sweet floral aroma respectively. And lastly, for food purpose, mono and sesquiterpenes are the basis of spices and flavoring. The next, for the microbial secondary metabolite, it can be used for antibiotics, anti-tumor agent, pharmacological and nutraceutical agent, enzyme inhibitors, and lastly, agricultural and animal health products. So for the antibiotic, major contribution is from the Bacillus subtilis. And then for the anti-tumor agent, we can get it from the actinobacteria-derived actinoplastic molecule, such as actinomycin D, anthracycline, Taxol, epotilones, and etc. And then for the pharmacological and nutraceutical agent, the example is fungal statin, which can be used as cholesterol-lowering agent, and then carotenoid as food colorant and fish feed. And then for enzyme and inhibitors, proteasubtilin can be used for detergent, and then amylase inhibitor can be used for weight loss. And then lastly, for the agricultural and animal health products. So for the agricultural product, polyoxin can be used as biopesticide, spinosyn for bioinsecticide, and gribelin as growth regulator. And then for the animal health product, ivermectin and doramectin can be used as an anti-helmintic, endotoxide against worms, lice, ticks, and mites. So that's all from us. Thank you.